Checking your bank account shouldn't feel like watching a horror movie, yet most of us treat our finances like a monster hiding under the bed. You are literally losing thousands of dollars every year because you're too scared to look at your own phone screen for more than 30 seconds. Most people think that building a fortune requires hours of complex spreadsheets, high-speed trading, or a degree in economics. That is a total lie. In reality, the most successful people I know spend less time worrying about money than the people who are struggling to pay rent. They have a system that takes almost no effort but yields massive results. Today, I'm going to break down the exact 5-minute routine that will stop the 3 a.m. panic attacks and start growing your net worth while you sleep. We're going to cover why your brain is wired to keep you poor, the simple 3-step daily habit that changes everything, and how to automate your life so wealth becomes your default setting rather than a lucky accident. By the time this video is over, you'll have a roadmap that requires less time than it takes to brush your teeth, but has the power to change your family's future for generations. Before we get into the 5-minute clock, we have to talk about why you feel so anxious in the first place. There was a famous study done at Princeton University that found financial stress can actually lower your IQ by up to 13 points. Think about that for a second. When you are worried about bills or debt, you are literally making yourself less capable of solving the very problem that is stressing you out. It's a vicious cycle. You feel broke, so you get stressed, which makes you make bad decisions, which makes you even more broke. This is what psychologists call the scarcity mindset. I want you to meet a guy named Mark. Mark is a smart guy who makes about $70,000 a year. On paper, he should be doing great. But every time Mark walks past a mailbox, he feels a pit in his stomach because he knows there's a bill in there he wasn't expecting. He avoids his banking app for weeks at a time. When he finally does open it, he's so overwhelmed by the mess that he just closes the app and goes to buy a pizza to feel better. Mark isn't lazy, and he isn't bad with math. He's just caught in the ostrich effect. He's sticking his head in the sand because the predator, which is his debt, is too scary to look at. The 5-minute routine is the only way to pull your head out of the sand without getting bitten. The first 60 seconds of your routine is the most important, and it's the part most people skip. You are going to open your banking app and look at every single transaction from the last 24 hours. This isn't about judging yourself. It's not about feeling guilty because you bought a $5 coffee or spent $20 on a movie. It's about data. When you see a charge for a subscription you forgot about or a double charge at the grocery store, you are reclaiming power. Most people lose about $300 a month simply because they aren't paying attention to small leaks in their boat. If your boat has a tiny hole, it doesn't matter how fast you row, you're eventually going to sink. This 1 minute of awareness plugs those holes. You're looking for ghost expenses. These are the streaming services you don't watch, the gym membership you haven't used since 2019, and the premium version of that app that you only needed for one day. By simply seeing these numbers daily, your brain starts to subconsciously adjust your behavior. You don't even have to try to spend less, you just will, because the reality of your spending is no longer a mystery. Now that you know where you stand, we move into the middle of the routine. This is where you decide where your money is going to go next. Most people let their money tell them where it went at the end of the month. Wealthy people tell their money where to go at the beginning. In these 2 minutes, you're going to look at your big 3 categories: debt, savings, and investing. You don't need to move huge chunks of money every day. That's a common mistake. Instead, you are looking for one micro win. For example, if you have a credit card balance of $2,000, your micro win for today might be moving $5 from your checking account to that credit card. It sounds small, but it breaks the paralysis of debt. Think about a giant boulder sitting at the top of a hill. The hardest part is that first inch of movement. Once it starts rolling, gravity takes over. By making a tiny payment or a tiny investment every single day, you are building momentum. There's a story about a janitor named Ronald Read. He wasn't a CEO and he didn't win the lottery. But when he passed away, he had $8 million in the bank. How? He used the power of tiny, consistent actions over a long period. He understood that wealth isn't an event, it's a habit. During these 2 minutes, you are acting like Ronald Reed. You are putting a few dollars into your future self's pocket. The 4th minute is all about checking your machines. If you want to build lasting wealth, you cannot rely on willpower. Willpower is a finite resource. By 4:00 p.m., after a long day of work and dealing with kids or a boss, your willpower is at 0. That's when you make bad financial choices. In this minute, you check your automations. Did your scheduled transfer to your high-yield savings account go through? Is your 401k contribution on track? If you haven't set these up yet, this minute is spent setting one up. Start with something so small it feels ridiculous. Set up an automatic transfer of $1 a day to a separate savings account. You won't miss $7 a week, but your brain will start to register that you are a person who saves money. This creates a psychological shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is struggling and start seeing yourself as an investor. When you automate your wealth, you're essentially outsmarting your future, tired, lazy self. You're making sure that your goals are met before you even have the chance to spend that money on something you don't need. The final minute is the most human part of the routine. Wealth without a purpose is just a number on a screen, and that's not enough to keep you motivated. For the last 60 seconds, I want you to visualize exactly what this wealth is for. Is it so you can take your parents on a vacation they could never afford? Is it so you can quit the job you hate and start a woodworking shop in your garage? Is it just the feeling of waking up on a Monday morning and knowing that if you didn't want to work, you wouldn't have to? Get specific. Feel the sand under your feet on that vacation or hear the sound of the saw in that workshop. Then, find one thing about your current financial situation to be grateful for. Even if you're deep in debt, maybe you're grateful that you have a phone to watch this video on. Gratitude kills the scarcity monster. It's impossible to feel anxious and grateful at the same exact time. By ending your 5 minutes on a high note, you train your brain to associate money with positive emotions instead of fear. This makes you more likely to come back and do the routine again tomorrow. You might be thinking, there is no way 5 minutes is enough. But let's look at the math. If you do this every day, that's about 30 hours a year dedicated purely to your financial health. Most people spend 0 hours a year on intentional financial health. They just react to emergencies. When you spend 30 hours a year focused on your goals, you are in the top 1% of the population. This routine works because it's sustainable. Most people try to do a financial overhaul where they cut out every joy in their life, stop eating out, and spend 4 hours on a Saturday looking at receipts. They do that for 1 week, get exhausted and quit. It's like going to the gym for 6 hours once a month. It won't do anything. But if you go to the gym for 20 minutes every single day, you will see a transformation. The 5-minute wealth routine is the daily walk for your bank account. It builds the financial muscle you need to handle bigger sums of money. As your net worth grows, the routine stays the same. Whether you're managing $1,000 or $1 million, the principles of awareness, intention, and automation never change. You are building a foundation that can support a skyscraper. The anxiety you feel right now is just a signal from your brain that there is an unknown factor in your life. Once you shine a light on it for 5 minutes a day, the unknown becomes known and the fear disappears. You start to realize that money is just a tool, like a hammer or a screwdriver. It's not a reflection of your worth as a human being. It's just something you use to build the life you want. If you want to see exactly how to invest that first dollar you save during your 5-minute routine, watch this video next.